go back to the thrown foot. I'm going to be adding this on, but before I do that, I'm going to just mark on here, I'm going to score on here where it's going to be connected. So it's going to be connected in this area. So we'll score. Score like mad in here. You really want that pedestal to stick on. And here's the problem. You're putting hard leather hard to just freshly thrown clay. So in order for it not to crack, you really need to score. We'll do a lot of joining techniques on this too to make sure that it won't crack later. And then what you have to do once you take this from the wheel, you have to dry it very, very slowly, wrapped in plastic. So I'm going to just push it on a little bit like that, and now do a little bit of down throwing. So you're taking your fingers downwards towards the pot. Let's score a little bit more of an area here so that we have a little bit more area to grip onto. Add a bit of water, not too much. It's not a good idea to have water dripping off this because it will start to erode the rim. Down throw.
And you down throw instead of sealing it onto the bowl because if you seal it onto the bowl it creates an air pocket?
This is sealing it onto the bowl by down throw.
But if you just kind of like sealed it on, it would make an air pocket?
No, not necessarily. But this just distributes the clay. You have so much clay here, it distributes it back, and what it does is it's going to give you a nice transition right here. If you just throw upward, if you just bring it up, it's going to not maybe get as good of a transition. So down throwing.
You don't need to do anything on the inside to seal it like you did on that.
I am down throwing on the inside too. My hand on the inside that you can't see is doing the same thing. It's coming down and sealing it. So we're pushing downwards.
Is this a really hard thing to do?
No, it is not a hard thing to do at all. It's actually pretty simple.
So at this point, you don't pull it up anymore.
Oh, I haven't gotten to that part yet. I will be pulling it up. But we have to, I'm stalling a little bit for time because also time is what is helping stick it on here. Have you noticed that sometimes when you leave a pot, if you put a wet pot, a leather hard pot on the wheel to trim, if you put it down and pick it right back up, it doesn't stick. But sometimes when it sits on the wheel for a while, it kind of sticks. So the suction doesn't happen right away. So down throw. Like I say, I'm giving it time to really stick on there too. Marrying it together here. Now we can start pulling up. But before we do that, we want to get it on center. But I don't want to risk centering it until it's really well stuck. So that's why we're doing it at this stage. A bit off center there. Not too bad. But let's just get it back on center. So I wouldn't have wanted to use this much pressure when I first put it on there. Now it's well stuck from the down throwing and the scoring. So now I can start bringing it up. And so now, Dieter just asked me, is this hard to do? Now it's just like throwing a cylinder or a bowl. Actually easier than a bowl because you don't have to worry about the interior of it so much, having that perfect curve like you have to do on a bowl. It's already got a curve from the leather hard bowl. Add a little bit of water, and I want to emphasize not too much water because once again you do not want the water to come down onto the bowl.
What about pooling in the middle?
No pulling in the middle either. A sponge in your hand. I'm going to show working with a sponge in my hand today for this video just so you can see the difference. I think on the other videos I just used fingers. So pulling up. So now you're trying to thin it out a little bit and shape it. A little bit of water. Trying to see where I put my ribs. Ely, can you go to my office and get my ribs? Are right there in a little container. Thank you very much. My favorite, the Cheryl Mud Tools. This gives you a beautiful transition into the bowl by using these. And it can help you also shape the foot. So you can put a little pressure and you can pull out against it. So did you see how the left hand was pulling outwards as I held the rib there, and it gets this beautiful curve.
So you were bringing it in as well with the rib, right?
I was bringing it in from the outside. I was putting more pressure on the outside when I wanted this to go in, and more pressure on the inside when I wanted it to come out towards me. And then if this is a little bit too wide, if you want a smaller area in there, re-wet it, and you can do a little bit of collaring. You can push inwards too. By the way, if you'd like to leave your throw marks on the foot, you can. You don't have to have it perfectly smooth. So, you collar in. That's if you want a smaller area in here. And then, using the ribs, you can also push in, just like when you're throwing. The same tactics you use during throwing. This is throwing. We're actually throwing right now. And this technique is optional for your pedestal bowls. I'm showing it to you because it's a little bit different than what you already know how to do, which is taking two separate pieces and just putting them together off of the wheel. I want to bring this foot out a little bit more. Against the rib to get a nice curve. And then one little area you want to be level. And rounded. And then take a look at it, see if you like it. If you do, you're done. And then a lot of times I'll come back later and do a little bit more trimming on it, just to sometimes I like to have a little trimmed mark where the two connect. So I would do that a little bit later when I do the trimming. That's it.